Laissez le bon temps rouler, which is French for let the good times roll. This is Cooking Secrets for Men, Mardi Gras edition. Today we're going to make a quick and easy jambalaya, Cooking Secrets for Men way. The first thing we're going to do is heat a little oil in a Dutch oven. You can use any kind of big pan that you want, but Dutch oven for what we're going to do makes a lot of sense. So let that heat a little bit, and then what we're going to do is sweat the Trinity. And the Trinity is, this is Trinity plus one. It's celery, onions, we're using red onions, green pepper, and we're using a little red bell pepper also. So the Trinity is pepper, onion, and celery. We're just adding a little color with the red. Alright, so we're going to put the Trinity in and sweat that. And we'll throw a little salt and pepper in there. And we're not going to need a lot of spices here because the spices with the jambalaya are pretty substantial and they give you a little heat. So as we're doing this, I'll tell you a little bit about Fat Tuesday, which most people know is the day before Ash Wednesday. And Fat Tuesday is also called Mardi Gras Day, since the name Mardi Gras and all the parties and the parades that happen down on Bourbon Street. That's where if you really want to be at a party on Mardi Gras, Bourbon Street in New Orleans is the place to be. It's all kinds of parties, food and drink. On Bourbon Street, where it's the main drag through the French Quarter in New Orleans, the store owners coat the light poles and the columns with Vaseline so the crowds can't climb up and down the poles in the middle of the celebration all day. So they try to do that as best they can. Jambalaya was brought to the New World by the Spanish in the 18th century, and jambalaya is a lot like paella. So when the Spanish were trying to cook paella, what they didn't have is saffron. So in place of saffron, they used readily available tomatoes. So part of jambalaya is that it is a dish with tomatoes in it, and the similarity paella is there. If it had saffron in, it'd be paella. All right, so these are starting to sweat nicely. So there's protein that goes into jambalaya. First thing we'll do is we'll throw in the chicken. This is little squares, 1-inch squares of chicken thighs. I much prefer chicken thighs to cook with. They're a lot more flavor. They don't really dry out. Really hard to overcook them. We'll put this in. The vegetables will continue to cook. And then we'll throw in our andouille sausage, cut in little cylinders. And the sausage is smoked sausage. So one of the little tips I use is smoked sausage, you don't really have to cook it. You just put it in and warm it. The flavors will come out and help flavor the dish. So they'll go in. You want to make sure that, as with any chicken dish, you get all the pink out. But it will also continue to cook as we move through the dish. So far, all we're doing is a little stir fry of the Trinity plus one with the red peppers, a little chicken, and a little sausage. The shrimp will not go in until the end because it cooks very quickly. All right. The chicken is just about cooked. Just cook quickly in a Dutch oven. Big pot like this conducts heat very well, and the vegetables around it, which are already hot, also help give heat and cooking the chicken. So it looks like the chicken is pretty well cooked. So we'll move on to the next step, which is adding the rice and the liquid. So in Cooking Secrets for Men, we try to take shortcuts and do things that are a little easier for cooks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some tomatoes to this. This is a can of crushed tomatoes. And as we discussed earlier, that's what gives jambalaya a little distinctive taste. Kind of like curries in the Far East, every family has a jambalaya recipe. They're all different, but the main ingredients are the Trinity, protein, tomatoes, and a lot of seasoning. All right, so what I like to use is Zatarain's jambalaya mix. It's already pre-measured, all the spices are in there, and all we're going to do is toss it in, put the water in, let it come to a boil. Alrighty. We'll stir this around, bring it to a boil. Should not take that long. And all the spices and all the stuff coming off of the sausage and the spices that we put in for the chicken are going to make this dish taste great. So once it comes to a boil, we will cover and let it simmer for 25 minutes. I'm going to set my kitchen timer. Alrighty. And the rice will start to absorb the moisture. And with about 5 minutes left, we'll put the shrimp in. And the shrimp will be cooked very quickly. And one of the secrets to cooking shrimp and having it taste good at the table is you put it in at the last minute. You don't overcook shrimp because then it gets tough. All right, so we're going to cover this. And we'll be back in 25 minutes. All right, we got about 5 minutes left on the clock here. Let's take a look inside. And we're going to add the shrimp, and we're going to add a little Worcestershire sauce, a little tang. I like Worcestershire. Let's stir it up, see how the rice is doing. Oh yeah, the rice is looking pretty good. A nice stir, nothing is sticking, which is great. We're going to throw in the shrimp. So the shrimp that I like to use comes deveined. I take the tails off. I'm just not a big fan of having to take the tail off in the middle of a meal. So this just goes in, and they will cook in this hot broth very quickly. Make sure they're all submerged, and they will come out with a nice pink color in just a couple of minutes. All right. Oh, that's looking good. Smells great. So as I was mentioning before, everyone has a different way of doing it. A lot of people like okra. Put the top back on for the last couple minutes. I like okra okay. Gets a little slimy. It just oozes when it gets hot. Some people use, instead of water, use chicken broth. And for this particular dish with the Zatarain's premix, I don't think you need the chicken broth for taste. I think it's got plenty of taste with the spices that are in there. Some people put garlic in. I love garlic, but again, the mix has a lot of garlic powder and garlic salt in it, and little hunks of garlic. So no real need to improve. If you're making it from scratch, that's one thing, but the Cooking Secrets for Men way, we just open up the box, pour it in, and we're done. All right, so we got just a couple more minutes to go here. And one of the ways that you serve jambalaya is with a little cornbread. So cornbread is the perfect accompaniment to jambalaya. It's a little sweet, it just tastes great, and it's a perfect complement. And then when you're finished, your meal, your Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday meal, you got to have a slice of king cake. And I don't see the little baby in there. Nope. King cake is a New Orleans tradition, and it's a great way to finish off a Fat Tuesday meal with a big hunk of sweet cake with sugar all top of it. Alright, that says we're at 25 minutes. And I just tested the rice, and it's ready to go. And what we'll do is ladle a little bit into a nice bowl. Oh, look at those shrimp. Woo! And a little cornbread on the side. And there you have it. A little Cooking Secrets for Men jambalaya. So, thanks for watching. And instead of an Italian saying, which I normally like to put out there, I'll say again, Laissez le bon temps rouler, which is let the good times roll. Thanks. Talk to you next time.